Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we have a Skyward Sword any percent tournament match. Today we have Jasnix versus Fireworkspinner in Winners Bracket Round 1. On commentary today we have Your Average Link and Zelds08, and they will take it from here.
All right, so this is the first match on restream of the WingClash tournament, going off of the tradition of Wolf Dash, Moon Crash, Wave Crash. So yeah, this is the Wing Dash tournament. This pits the the 4 seed Jasnix versus the 13 seed Firework. If you've never seen a run of Skyward Sword 90% before, buckle up because it's going to be a little bit crazy. But first thing you're going to notice once we get started is that Firework will start first, and Jasnix will actually not start until 2 minutes and 6 seconds in because we did some timings, and that's how much time that Japanese saves over English for text, and so to make things fair, we have a head start awarded to players that are playing in English. So it looks like we're going to get started pretty soon. You have anything to say, Zelds?
I'm definitely excited for this match.
Yeah,
I'm excited for like everything that this tourney has to offer, because
for sure.
like I
even,
haven't seen a Skyward Sword tourney until like this one.
Yeah, and the turnout of 14 people was even more than I expected.
Yeah.
And we're off. So
Good luck to the
yeah,
runners.
good luck to both runners. First thing you'll notice is we're playing on hero mode. It has tons of benefits. Probably the best one is the fact that you can skip cutscenes. So yay, we love that. So there's going to be a divergence from like a normal playthrough right here at the start, because we're going to talk to Fledge. He has some secrets that will come into play eventually. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of these seemingly random occurrences in the run that actually have a purpose, but it's for weird reasons involving back in time. So yeah, we're going to talk to Horwell. He's going to be like, this is how you Z-target. Yes, so Jasnix is playing on the Japanese version, which saves 2 minutes and 6 seconds in text compared to the English version. And so, to make things fair, in the tournament, we've administered a 2 minute and 6 second head start to anybody who's playing on English. And you'll see right now, the English text is kind of slow, but once we start playing on Japanese, it's quite a bit faster.
Yeah, basically any language except for Japanese is just like slow, and then Japanese is just like, you know.
Yeah. There's also a Korean version, which is not as fast as Japanese, but it's significantly faster.
I completely forgot about the Korean version, actually.
Right. So unfortunately, Firework is kind of struggling with the first trick here. You can jump past this Horwell text. Ooh, not quite the right angle there.
Oh, Firework
The
taking a
purpose of
fall.
Yeah, the purpose of this is to go rescue the Remlet, which you don't normally have to do, but this Remlet also has secrets. And Jasnix is getting started over on the left. Looks like he's already low on he's already low on battery.
Monka battery. Although that battery will last him the whole run.
Yeah, this run is so short that even if you have low battery, you'll probably be fine.
I mean, it can like if the low battery just now started, like it should be able to last him like another 2 or 3 hours, probably.
Yeah. And I would estimate for a runner of Jasnix's caliber, if things go well, he should be able to finish within the next, like, at most 75-ish minutes. But things can always go wrong. But hopefully, knock on wood. Alright, so now that the Remlet is saved, The next conclusion is to go save at this bird statue.
Saving the rimlet sets scene flag 2x10
No,
for the
that's
sky.
this is supposed to be magic. We weren't supposed to tell them
Ooh.
that yet.
Oh yeah.
All right, so next thing we're gonna do is
Scene flags don't exist, guys. Don't worry. Like that's
Firework,
a
what are you
win-win
doing?
thing. Wait, what?
This doesn't seem quite right. All right. Well, we're gonna try again. Maybe this time he'll go over and see the Zelda cutscene.
Yeah. Firework.
Ooh.
Firework's taking a lot of damage.
Sorry, we've got health for one more try.
Yeah. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to
right.
get into the Zelda cutscene. It's a very precise trick to get into the Zelda cutscene. Ooh,
yikes.
Firework taking a death already.
Yeah. I know this is a race, but maybe with the nerves he'll think about resetting the run here. Alright, so now that the mandatory joke for Skyward Sword speedruns has now happened, wait a second. This is back in time. It's a very versatile glitch, and you're gonna see it, I think, 13 times in this run. We'll try and walk through the process as it's happening.
Yeah.
So, first thing we're gonna do is void out past this fence, and because the game kind of expects you to have fallen off on the other side, you end up on the other side.
And then you bit save here to, I believe, put you on Skyloft layer 1, or it's 0 or 1.
Layer 28. It's
28.
really weird. Yeah. This is the layer that the title screen takes place on.
I was not correct.
Because after this reverse bit magic sequence, we want to go back into the goddess statue. We'll see that once this happens.
But what Firework is doing now is going into the goddess statue to RBM the Farron Pillar.
Yeah, so he's going to pick up the goddess sword. And be careful not to reselect any files after doing so, because there are some quirks with Back in Time where basically what happens when you're playing kind of stays there, and if you select a file, it will overwrite your data, so you want to be careful.
If you reselect a file here, you have to redo the entire bit sequence, which loses a little bit of time.
But yeah, now that the sword is in hand, we're gonna strike this goddess crest, and fun fact, what I said about like inventory stuff is moot for this next part, because apparently you always have the emerald tablet, which I did not know until like yesterday. Wait. So now that we have the emerald tablet, you just run up to this, place it, and then we're gonna stay in Back in Time. This next cutscene is gonna play, and essentially, when you start your file, the game will reload in all of the flags from your file. However, if you start your file, then perform an action in Back in Time, the action gets applied to your file. So what Firework has done is started his file and then placed the emerald tablet. So now the Farron Pillar is on this file for real. And like we mentioned earlier, we're going to go into the goddess statue now. Pick up the goddess sword for real, because what happened in Back in Time stays in Back in Time. So the goddess sword hasn't actually been picked up yet.
Yeah, this is when you get the goddess sword for real, and you keep it throughout the entirety of the run.
Yeah, this is the one and only sword we're going to get in this run. It's going to make for an interesting show once we get to the final two bosses. Or really just the penultimate boss.
Yeah.
Alright, and now we're going to raise this pedestal again because, you know, why not? We're going to have to come back to this a few times, so it's nice to have it down.
I thought you had to raise it. Is it just, like, optimal to do it? It's not required?
Well, you can technically raise it whenever, but if you do it now, you only have to do it once.
Okay.
Alright. And Jasnix is making up quite a bit of this, the head start. Looks like he's on a pretty good pace. So now when we exit the goddess statue, we're on the correct Skyloft layer. The Zelda cutscene is playing, and we're, at least for a little while, gonna do Skyloft sort of as intended. Like, we don't have to get the practice sword because we already have a sword. But we're gonna go see Groose, and then we're gonna go save the Loftwing.
Oh wow, Jasnix did make up a lot of time.
Yeah, so it turns out that a majority of the, I don't know if like a technical majority, but a lot of the text in this run is on Skyloft. And so I think Skyloft and the Thunder Dragon make up a vast majority of the text. So
You can't forget
there will be
about.
like a huge advantage at the start, then a less big advantage, and then once we get to Thunder Dragon, things like equalize back.
Well, you also have to consider the Gear Him text before the Skuldy fight.
That is
Actually
also,
pretty long.
although yeah, that's somewhat significant. All right. So next thing that's different, we're gonna enter this house. The what's her name? Rinna has some secrets that we'll see later. Really, in fact, all of these things we did on Skyloft are gonna come to fruition in the same back in time sequence later. So we'll point those out as they happen.
Yeah, so Fledge's secret, the Rimlight's secret, and Rinna's secret will
Yes.
all be in the in
Right,
a
so
single bit sequence.
So now we're gonna go to the waterfall cave. This is how we get to the Loftwing. We're also gonna take damage here because after this sequence, we're going to want to perform back in time again, and as you noticed the first time, it involves dying. So in many cases in this game, it's useful to be on low health so you can die quickly.
Yeah.
Especially because in this run, we're not going to pick up any items, which means no bomb bag, which normally would have been useful for taking damage.
Runners are basically neck and neck right now.
Yeah, Jasnix has been playing well and making up much of the
What we'll
handicap
see
so far.
Firework do here is save and quit and copy file 1 to file 3. So that way you can. It was. I'm not.
Okay, so what the reason we do this is because after rescuing the Loftwing, we want to have file 3 there so we can perform a file dupe, and we'll explain that when it comes up. Well, we want to have a file that hasn't saved the Loftwing yet, to perform a trick where we enter the sky and get the ability to dive off our Loftwing in the Loftwing tutorial to escape to the surface. Kind of doesn't make sense right now, but it'll make more sense when we get there.
Correct me if
now
I'm
we're just-
wrong, but every sky entry is on the Loftwing tutorial layer, or all except one, which is the RBW.
Yeah, the Loftwing tutorial layer is useful for back in time because it doesn't crash the game.
What about the regular sky layer crashes the game in back in time?
It's probably just too big. Like, that's the reason why, for example, Elden crashes back in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just gonna have a little tutorial here to how to fly the Loftwing. Fortunately, unlike HD, there's no silly trick that you can do to make this faster. It's just the same. And Jasnix is gonna pull ahead here, actually, because of the Japanese text. And yes. These runners are both named B, as chosen by our restreamer. Oh wait, that's you. Okay, I'm being dumb, sorry. Alright, so next up we have a trick called Wing Ceremony Cutscene Skip. Basically, there are 2 frames after this save prompt here where you can hop out of a cutscene trigger, and it saves about 40 seconds over the alternative. We're gonna see Jasnix gets it, very nice. I know he's been working on the... Ooh. Unfortunately, Firework misses it, so he's gonna have to go for the backup. So you see, while Jasnix was able to quickly go and jump down to the cliff here to perform back in time, Firework is going to have to reload file 3 and use the barrels that are by the Loftwing cage to his advantage, because, fun fact, you can die to a barrel rolling onto you. And this was actually a fairly recent discovery. Like, I think in the past year or so, this was found.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Before this, you had to run all the way back through the waterfall cave, because another fun fact, you can't perform back in time in the waterfall cave. But we've also kind of been glossing over what Jasnix did there. Is by selecting file 2 and then opening the and then like selecting the bird statue with the splash screen open, he performed what's called a file dupe, which is where you take the contents of file 3 and place them onto file 2. Ooh, that almost looked bad, but fortunately it did work. What he's done is he's put the contents of file 3, for example, it hasn't saved the Loftwing yet, but it's on a new hero mode file, so it's able to go directly into the sky, for reasons. Looks like, unfortunately, he didn't quite get the Goy strategy here, so... So this text here, for whatever reason, loads in the story flag for being able to dive off to your Loftwing, and now what we need to do is die, so that we can go back to the waterfall cave and re-enter the Loftwing tutorial. So this Gwei here is our friend, well, usually our enemy. Looks like that
here
wasn't...
he is our friend.
I don't think Firework did that file dupe correctly. We'll see.
Firework should be okay.
I've never seen somebody do that with like the Wii Motion Plus tutorial.
It should be
You'll
fine.
also notice Firework is going a different way to perform this reverse bit warp. This way is safer because the timing is super easy. Jasnix performed a slightly more risky one, but it isn't too difficult once you learn how.
Yeah, it looks like the file dupe did indeed work.
Alright, well, we'll see if the Farron Pillar is there. Okay, yeah. I've never seen that form of file dupe before, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, I'm pretty sure.
Alright, anyways, on Jasnix's side, now save the Loftwing again. But this time we have the ability to dive off the Loftwing.
So Jasnix will be flapping 12 times, and then diving off, and then he's going to try to land on the zipper to take 4 hearts of damage before going into the Farron Pillar, and then he'll save at the sealed ground statue.
Yes, so
and then activate
this zipper is just a convenient way to damage down, because, like we mentioned, it's useful to be on low health for back in time.
Ooh, Jasnix almost missing the top of that.
I mean, it's fine. You can always land on the inside. Alright,
yeah.
And Firework is electing to die with these Octorocks instead. It's a safer alternative. Alright, and now Jasnix has entered Farron.
Even with the 2-minute head start, I think Jasnix's Enter Farron is still faster than mine.
Yeah, Jasnix's Enter Farron is like 20 seconds faster than my PB. Or wait, I guess relative to his start time it is. But, yeah. Yeah, Jasnix is a very excellent caliber runner. But we'll see what the rest of this race has in store. So now Firework's going to be saving the Loftwing again.
Now we get to see some secrets. Maybe.
Oh yes, here's the time for secrets.
But they're secrets, so you don't know if you'll see them yet.
Yeah,
With every
you
bit
don't quite
sequence,
know.
you might see a secret.
So
Who
this is
knows?
perhaps the most complicated instance of back in time you'll see in the run. We're essentially going to skip the entirety of Farron and enter the Skyview Temple from back in time. So first, we're going to copy file 3 over to file 1 because we don't need file 1 anymore. In fact, if you were particularly astute, you'd notice that we entered Farron on file 2 because that was after the file dupe.
Clean one frame copy from Jasnix.
Yeah. So essentially, to copy files on the file select, you have to press the plus button. But pressing the plus button in the normal game opens up the map. And if you open the map in back in time, it'll actually crash the game. But if you press the plus button for only one frame, it'll copy your file, but it won't open the map. And so it's useful for copying files if you have control of Link in back in time.
I never really understood why Skyward Sword menus were like that.
But yeah, we're going to see our first instance of Farron back in time. Using the Loftwing tutorial layer we talked about earlier, we're able to enter the sky in back in time without crashing. And normally there's an invisible wall preventing you from flying away during this tutorial. However, that only applies to the Loftwing, not to Link. So you can just dive into Farron.
And then here you'll see Jasnix select file 3 during the fade out, so that way he doesn't crash.
Well, okay, actually, he selected file 1 before entering, which is why it doesn't crash, because...
My bad.
Alright, bear with me here. There's a lot to unpack about back in time, but essentially, if your file has entered a region already, the next time you enter the region, there will be a map screen to choose which, like, statue you want to land at. And Jasnix selected file 1 there to avoid that, because if he had selected file 2 or 3, it would open the map screen, which, as we mentioned earlier, crashes back in time. I believe he selected file 3 just to avoid a lengthy cutscene once you enter.
Also, in Sealed Grounds, we saw our first secret.
Oh, yes. So when we talked to Fledge at the beginning of the run, it set a value in memory that once we like loaded here and back in time, it made that log in the Sealed Grounds come down. So now we can actually enter the rest of Farron and back in time.
And here you'll see Jasnix avoiding file 1, because if he selects file 1, the Floria door cutscene will play.
Yeah, so one
now
consequence is like having selected that statue that you just saw Firework at, the Upper Academy statue, is the same value in memory for a cutscene of the Lake Floria doors being opened. Which is just an annoying time loss that we want to avoid. So Jasnix died in back in time, but it's okay because he saved that file, and essentially dying let him reload the state of Farron Woods so that another secret we're about to see is actually there.
Yeah.
So when we opened, when we entered and exited Rinna's house earlier on Skyloft, that value corresponds to this vine here being down, and normally you'd have to shoot this down with a slingshot, which we don't have.
Which is why we go to Rinna's house to get the secret.
All right, so now we're in Deep Woods. Jasnix's gonna select file 1 and then file 3 and skip this cutscene, and now we're in this cutscene, which is thanks to the remlet that we saved earlier. I think it's better if you just like don't ask questions on this. It has to do with like those values having a relative link in like their position in memory.
So what Jasnix
we load them in back in time.
What Jasnix just did was the Skyview RBW, standing for reverse bit warp. When you saved on Skyloft at the Upper Academy, that set your coordinates to the position that Jasnix fell in Skyloft. So whenever you RBW file 3 into Skyview, it will put Link at the coordinates you saved at on Skyloft. And then the way he did it was when he started the file after the cutscene, like after the cutscene for Link to start walking into Skyview started, he waited a couple seconds to press 2. I don't know why it works. I just know it does if
Well,
you press 2 during the fade out to skip the cutscene.
well, essentially, like after you skip the cutscene, the game will load you into the Skyview Temple.
Why
And
can
a
you do it
reverse
too early though?
Because if you do it too early, you will reverse warp in, but you'll not like get a story flag that's involved, or a scene flag or something. I think a story flag. Yeah, you'll miss the story flag for entering Skyview Temple, which means you'll be in Skyview, but on layer 0, where there's very crucial things missing, and it's not fun. But by waiting a little bit, you delay your file starting so that you both enter Skyview and you get the flag associated with entering Skyview. We're essentially performing an RBM and a reverse warp at the same time.
Okay.
Alright, so thanks to that RBW, we've already gotten the boss key like 2 minutes in. In fact, that specific genre of skip going to the end of Skyview is like one of the oldest tricks in this game. Like back when this game was like 5 hours long, you skip the entire first half of Skyview. Now, back then you still had to go get the beetle, which we don't, but still.
If I recall correctly, the old route, or it's restricted bit, I think, is the run, but you can either get beetle or not, but you lose a minute if you go get beetle.
Yeah, that's the case for all dungeons as well. Because there will be another trick we'll see later on in Earth Temple that lets you skip the only required use of the beetle. Alright, so now Jasnix is fighting Girahim. This is a somewhat RNG-based fight. It looks like he got a good RNG there, being able to attack him right out of Phase 1. He can do various things like spawn darts, which are slow, block with a sword, which is good, or dash at you, which is also good. Also, one thing we kind of glossed over is you have to enter and exit this room you see Firework in Skyview, because initially when you enter, the rope that leads to the boss... the rope that leads to the boss door is missing. But entering and exiting this room reloads it, so it's actually there. We also glossed over this trick to go past the spider. By this point, you're intended to have the beetle, and that's what you use to cut the spider down, but if you do a Skyward strike, you can get past it. That was a good G1 fight for Jasnix. You'll notice he skips the heart container, because that heart container actually isn't very useful. If you were attentive during the RBW, you'd notice that we were playing on file 3, but we're going to finish the game on file 1, which means that heart container is not going to end up on your final file, so it really doesn't help.
Something people don't talk about a lot, like at the spider jump, you can actually knock down the spider if you Skyward strike it twice.
Yeah, that's
a lot
usually
safer to do that.
If you if you do a diagonal Skyward strike, things get really muddy, and it's like...
Yeah.
Sorry, things are going pretty fast-paced, and we're missing a lot of things, but we can go back to them now that Firework is here. Since we don't have the slingshot, we have to use the Skyward strike to knock down these vines. That's another benefit of Hero Mode. We have the power of the True Master Sword Skyward Strike right from the beginning of the game. Because the game's like, oh, there's the power of battles that you played in your past life or something like that. And the final benefit is that you take double damage. Normally, all these things would be doing 1 heart, but they do 2 now, which is good for back in time. Speaking of back in time, Jasnix is going to do another instance. So now that he's beaten Skyview, he has the Ruby Tablet, and the next order of business is to just place the Ruby Tablet. In fact, and we're going to do this for real this time, like outside of back in time. I mean, we're going to use back in time to get there because it's significantly faster. You get to avoid like a cutscene with Machi. But we want to do this for real because normally when you place the Emerald Tablet at the start of the game, you get the tunic, which has a lot of benefits you might not expect, like getting to the sky faster and being able to do a crucial RBM later. But you'll notice how we only have the regular Skyloft clothes on. That's because when we RBM'd the Emerald Tablet earlier, we just completely cut off the part of getting the tunic. So now, because we haven't actually done that part yet, when Jasnix places the Ruby Tablet in, there's going to be a really wonky cutscene after this one that he can thankfully skip, because otherwise it would softlock. And then after that point, your health will be restored and you'll have the tunic.
If I recall correctly, the cutscene right here is a cutscene failing to play because the proper flags aren't set or something.
Something like that. If you actually look at what the cutscene looks like before you skip it, it's like a weird side view of the statue. It's a lot like what the old Horde cutscene used to look like in the old route.
Yeah. And then you can also get a cutscene like that in Skyview if you beat Skyview.
You'll notice Jasnix saved and quit after this, just because he doesn't want to do the part where you're like in the academy and you have to get out, and Fledge gives you the pouch and all that stuff. When we have another file 2, available to perform back in time. Alright, so now we want to enter the Elden Volcano region. However, to do things quickly, we're going to perform another reverse bit warp. However, unfortunately, we can't quite do the same thing that we did for Skyview, because the Elden region is so big, it'll crash back in time. So what we have to do is get some good coordinates on file 3 by going to Farron, and then reverse bit warp the file directly into the Elden region, like before the game has a chance to crash. And then we'll end up in a pretty interesting part of Elden.
This is possibly one of my favorite back in time sequences, but then again, I do really love some of the later ones.
Yeah. This one is also kind of weird. Like, this is the only back in time sequence where you have to select file 2 after loading into this pillar here. The other ones you just do file 3.
You don't have to, but it is faster.
And in fact, Jasnix accidentally selected the wrong file.
Yeah. Like, he's fine. It's just there's gonna be Deku Babas here, which is he's gonna have to get past these guys, which is gonna just lose him a little bit of time, but not all that much. So he's fine.
And he'll have to make sure that he enters the behind the temple with the right file, because file 3 is not going to work.
Does file 3 work if you enter sealed grounds with file 2?
Well, no. The main thing is if you enter this part with file 3, you're on, like, you know, when you do rock RBM, you're on that part of the sealed grounds, so you can't you can't like reach a statue normally.
Because the gate and the statue,
because you have the tunic.
Yeah.
So Jasnix saved file 3 here because that statue, the behind the temple statue, has useful coordinates in the Elden region that we're about to see. And he's just flying back out, still back in time.
And what you see here is when he went into the sky, the game just like teleported him into the Loftwing tutorial area, because the Loftwing is not supposed to be outside of that barrier.
Yeah, it's like the invisible wall is pushing him back in bounds. But if you dive off here and you remount your Loftwing, you can enter this zipper, which makes you go super fast. And fortunately, the Elden Pillar actually is within the bounds of the Loftwing tutorial. And so he's just going to start his file as he's entering the Elden Pillar. And now we're out here. So enjoy the next few minutes of the Breath of the Wild tech demo. Alright, so we're out of bounds. Fortunately, there's lots of collision out here. And we're essentially just going to climb to the top. We get to
Which
skip
skips
all the...
it skips the
Yeah.
entirety of Elden Volcano.
Yeah, you get to skip the part where you have to go get the digging mitts. And then have this cutscene with Impa. And there's this cutscene with the Magmas that takes forever, especially if you aren't English.
There's 2 Magma cutscenes, actually, I
Yeah,
think.
well, normally you would skip the other one with, like, in the old route, there was just a version of the bit warp where you just use the Bazaar coordinates, which gets you directly into the Magma Turf. Alright, so he's gonna wait a little bit to recharge him stamina, Alright, that was a nice recovery there. Alright, looks like that's good.
What you'll see Jasnix do here in a second is side hop to the right, like, at a fairly tight angle, but it's pretty lenient, I would say. As long as you don't have, like, a diagonal angle, you're fine. But you
And
need
now
to
we
get
take...
on that side to get into Earth Temple.
The important part is we want to get here without dying, of course, but we also want to get here with 2 hearts, ideally, so that we have optimal health for performing back in time.
And then now Jasnix will be doing another back in time sequence to skip the key pieces.
Yeah, so normally you have to use the digging mitts to go find 5 key pieces to enter the Earth Temple. However, there's a back in time sequence we can use to skip that. Also, you saw momentarily there, one of the differences, Firework is playing on a Wii U. Represent, I also play on Wii U. But one of the disadvantages of playing on Wii U is the fact that there's no physical reset button. So it's a little bit slower to perform back in time, about 1.5 seconds per instance. Because you have to go into the Wii menu and select reset. It's a little unfortunate. Okay, so it looks like Firework is going for the other reverse field warp that I talked about earlier. He's just gonna opt for the Bazaar coordinates. Or not. Oh, sorry, never mind. He was just taking an unconventional route to the sky. Never mind. Alright, so what
But-
Jasnix did is he started his file, then pushed that gravestone. And the flag for that gravestone corresponds to the Earth Temple door being open, so now we're in Earth Temple. Alright. And another trick is coming up.
Oh boy, key seat.
Yes, we have lovingly named this trick Key Seat. Because, well, you'll see. So we're supposed to have the beetle, but we don't have the beetle. In fact, we don't have any B-wheel items, and we're not going to get any. But we still have to cut this rope over here. So this keys here is going to help us out. If we wait for a good angle, looks like he wasn't quite ready for that one. And then Skyward Strike. Very nice. The Skyward Strike can hit the rope, and now we can progress forward. This actually used to be a task-only trick, but we eventually figured out good setups for this, and that's how itemless any percent works.
Yeah.
Alright, so again, since we don't have any items, we can't normally do the part in this dungeon where you have to, like, go use the bomb bag and progress through a path after a crack in the wall.
In
But
theory,
fortunately,
wait, no. Well, yes, you could get the bomb bag, but it would lose a lot of time. That would be
well,
like extra beginner
no,
route.
you can't get the bomb bag because you don't have the B wheel. You would soft lock.
Oh,
And even if you did have the bomb bag, you can't do the normal part because you need beetle as well to cut a rope.
yeah.
So you'll notice that Jasnix is staying on the splash screen here. That's because for this back in time, we want to be able to enter the Knight Academy with essentially no file. Like,
So
we
just
want to be at the
basically,
very start of the game because that's where the conversation with Pippet that lets us perform this RBM lies.
so basically file 0.
If you want to think of it that way. But the point is, none of our files actually work for this, so what way is Firework going? Oh, is this like a safe alternative?
That looks interesting. What Jasnix just did was pivot RBM, which plays the cutscene for those for the stairs to be brought up, but they're not up yet. You have to reload the area by dying.
Yeah,
And then
and
whenever you reload or whenever you continue, you'll see that the stairs are now up and you can just complete Earth Temple.
ooh, Firework with not quite the correct angle running up there. But yeah, the fact that like there's just so many actions you can perform on Back in Time, and their memory addresses line up so well, means we can do a lot of powerful things with reverse
That
spin
was
magic.
Monka S from Firework. He almost Monka stamina'd and slid down.
Yeah, Firework
But
will have
luckily he
to
made it.
take a different path down to avoid taking fall damage here. It's not too difficult to do. You just have to avoid. Ooh. So
Oof.
he
That's
was
gonna
angled a little bit too far forward and
yeah.
touched the lava. Now, fortunately, because he's already saved in in behind the temple, he doesn't have to go do that anymore. He just has to go straight to the sky and reverse spin warp again. There's the
Yeah.
boss key for Jasnix.
This still loses about what would you say, like a minute and a half to 2 minutes?
Probably.
Very unfortunate for Firework. Firework will bit save file 2 again to be able to mount the loft wing to actually go into the sky. And
Yeah,
then
so
coming up from Jasnix, he's going to be doing Bomb Flowerless Scaldera, which is basically just, well, you don't have the bomb bag, so you have to roll the bombs down from the top, and, well, it's a 3-cycle Scaldera,
yeah, so
and you have to do specific combos.
yeah, so like you're supposed to have the bomb bag here to be able to fight this boss. However, the game provides some bomb flowers at the top of the arena to refill in case you run out. And you can actually use those to complete the boss fight if you, well, for one, if you're on hero mode, and for two, if you like roll them down and do precise amounts of damage every cycle. So we'll see that shortly. But first, Girahim is going to monologue for a while.
But yeah, the combos you want, well, you can do multiple ways. I don't know how Jasnix does it, but the way I do it is first cycle I do a slash, a spin attack that
It
hits
will,
twice.
yeah,
Second cycle I
that's
do a Skyward Strike and 2 spin attacks,
yeah,
and then
that's the
repeat on the
standard
third one.
strategy. Also, Girahim, I can't read Japanese, but he's saying something about Impa running off with Zelda, and I'm not really sure who Impa is. She's a character that like we completely run past in Elden, so I'm not sure what he's on about. Anyway, This is Scaldera. Jasnix is going to take damage here because, once again, he wants to be on low health after this. Ooh, looks like the bomb throw, like, missed him. It's okay. So yeah, he's going to roll this bomb down, do a slash and then a spin attack. So Scaldera will start running back up. Ooh, looks like he got kind of bad RNG. Jasnix is going to roll another bomb down. Now, this part he has to be careful. He has to, like, do this without taking damage. Alright, looks like he's just taking it safe. Oh, no!
Oh!
Oh, he got the soft lock. I don't know if he knows how to... Okay. I don't know if he saved. If he didn't, it's... I mean, it's kind
That's
of
a
bad
lot.
because he's over in, like, the middle of Earth Temple, but it's not, like, completely over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Can you-
has to run all the way back to the boss door. Okay, so what happened was, because he was on low health, he tried to, like, manipulate Scaldera such that he would fall down quickly, but without taking damage. However, that, for some reason, the strategy that involves not taking damage has a somewhat high chance of having that happen, whereas Scaldera just kind of jumps into the lava, and from there you're kind of stuck.
Somehow I've never had that happen to me, but it's like my favorite soft lock in the game.
I've had it happen to me, like, when I tried learning the Elden extending blow route that used to exist, because for that one you want to have full health. For that one you want to have full health for the extending blow afterwards. And so you don't want to take damage.
Firework? Fine. Or, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can select a file there, and it's fine. Yeah. It just matters that you leave with file 1 or file 2. Jasnix going back into the Scaldera fight, and sadly, he will have to listen to hear him yap again.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't skip this cutscene and it doesn't go away the second time. In fact, there are some, like, Gecko practice codes for this game, and one of them is specifically to be able to skip this cutscene.
Firework just now entering Earth Temple.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Firework is not confident with key seat, so he's going to perform an alternate sequence of events to get into the second part of Earth Temple.
Yeah, so what we'll see Firework do is do back in time, and I'm not exactly sure what he does, but it's some kind of bit warp. Because I've only ever seen the key seat route done.
Okay, so
for
first he's going to RBM the rock in, like, the rock between the map chest room and the rest of the dungeon away. Because he's going to spawn in the map chest room, but still has to get to the center.
Okay. How much time does this lose to key seat?
I want to say, like, 3 minutes? It might be on the route. Let me look. Yeah, it says 3 minutes slower. Alright. So yeah, this text here with the piercing eyes will get rid of the rock. Alright, so hopefully Jasnix is going to do the strategy that... Oh, he doesn't quite get it. So what you can normally do is you can, like, run behind Scaldera and then, like, touch him from the back, which will cause him to fall down immediately and give you some extra damage. But now he's going to roll all the way down. You do another Skyward Strike, and then some spin attacks, and that's the fight. Alright, so now... So Firework, I believe, committed the RBM and then died to regain some health, because you're going to take a lot of fall damage from this, I believe.
Next up, we will see Jasnix RBM the Amber tablet onto onto
so
file 1.
yeah, so basically, file 3 has been doing all of the legwork by now, getting all the requirements to get to the Lanayru region, and now file 1 is gonna like finish out the relay.
Yeah, file 1 is going to be the run file for the rest of it.
Yeah, so basically, this speedrun boils down to getting to the Lanayru region as fast as possible. In previous routes, you had to like go get some other flags that were on the way because you needed some detours, like getting the harp or whatever. But we'll see why pretty soon that we just need to get to Lanayru.
In one of my runs, I did the unthinkable and RBM'd it onto file 3, and then finished out the run on file 3.
Is that even possible?
Well, I don't remember if I finished the run, but I know I got pretty far at least. And I just did it from Eldon instead. It's slower for sure.
But yeah, Jasnix is gonna re-enter Earth Temple because there are some useful flags in Earth Temple that we'll want for later. And then just perform back in time.
And we'll be doing the same thing we did for the Emerald tablet at the beginning of the run with the Amber tablet. You'll see Jasnix just enter the goddess statue without starting his file, so that way he's still back in time, and then he'll do the RBM as he did before.
Right, and this is the statue that Firework is gonna bit warp with.
Oh yeah, Jasnix also bonks the tree and collects
and
the
he-
rupee to
yeah, so-
load in the Amber tablet.
Collecting that rupee will load in the fact that he has the Amber tablet.
What
in
the
his
heck was
inventory.
that from Firework? Holy.
Yeah, that's where
I've
the
never
coordinates
seen
aren't
that in
very
my life.
coordinates aren't very useful in Earth Temple outside of that one statue, and it's like super high. So now we're on
That
the other
is
side.
terrifying. And then now just Earth Temple route should be normal for Firework. Just
Yes.
doing the Pipit RBM, Scaldy, all that good stuff.
So
Jasnix does start his file before like every fade out and load zone because it actually makes it load faster.
I've actually heard that that
If
might
you
be
do
a
it.
myth for some instances, but it does save time for others. But yeah, so Jasnix started his file, then had the
And that's where the like run file changed. Now we're just gonna be on file 1 for the rest of it.
yeah, Firework. I don't think you can run off on the left side there. Yeah. So you might think, oh, well, we already saw this text box earlier. Well, so that was actually on file 2, not file 1.
if he's going for it on the left, I'm sure he's done it on the
Okay.
left before.
I've
Yeah,
just never seen
there.
anybody else do it on the left, but it is a lot nicer in terms of like the Wii Motion Plus tutorial because Noah's on the left.
We don't like.
Which we actually have to use the Wii Motion Plus tutorial here to ensure that we don't leave the splash screen.
Also, don't have the Wii Motion Plus tutorial prompt up whenever you go through the load zone.
Yeah, if you
I
have
learned
it
that
up
the
when
hard
you go
way
through a
in a
load
race.
zone, it will stay on your screen until you reset, and it's really annoying.
It's honestly pretty funny though.
So Pivot says, you know, I'm something of a bird researcher myself, and now the bridge is going to be open.
We can actually read what people say on Fireworks game.
Yeah, well, if you know how to read Japanese, you could also read.
Sadly, I do not know how to read Japanese.
Me neither.
It would be pretty cool though.
Cool to at least know how to do it phonetically, because like the syllabary, I think, is an interesting writing system. Although it's kind of weird that there are like 3 different systems. Anyway, Jasnix is going to perform a regular beat warp, which for some reason this is the first time it's happening in this run. You know, we've done a lot of complicated stuff, but
This is the most simple
so for one,
it gets.
we no longer have any files that are on Skyloft, which means we have no way of opening those gates. So we have to do the old-fashioned thing of voiding out and ending up on the other side.
Is File 2 not on Skyloft?
No. It is in sealed grounds, I think. It might be bit saved on Skyloft, but it doesn't have the Skyloft flags. Because bit
Okay.
saving doesn't load in the flags. So now we're over here. Again, there's collision, fortunately. So we're just going to run over to the Lanayru Gorge region. Because there's like a pathway from the mines to the caves that you'd use clawshot targets to get to. But if you run around here out of bounds, you can just jump down to it.
Swag points for Jasnix, with the Skyward Strikes charging. Well, he was doing it, he's not doing it anymore.
Well, yeah. So now we're here.
You just kind of
and actually, because we don't have the claw shots, the path to Lanayru Gorge is just kind of open. It doesn't get blocked off until you have the claw shots. So
yeah, so you can just go straight to Gorge, and then Jasnix will skip the cutscene, save, and then do back in time.
yeah, so this is normally a part that you do during the Song of the Hero quest, late in the game. But we're gonna do some RBMs to do it right now, because there's one very powerful side effect of completing this quest, which is the boss rush minigame.
We'll let them see what the boss rush minigame is later.
You might have noticed when we entered the gorge, there were no bones of the Thunder Dragon there, which there normally would be. This is because, once again, we're on layer 0, because the trigger for like the correct layer, or the correct state, is like saving Levias, which is obviously something we're not able to do right now. But we can do some instances of reverse speed magic to get around that. So this first one here is necessary because we do not have any items. At the end of the minecart escort, there is a rock that blocks the path of the minecart that you'd normally have to blow up with your own bomb or using the hook beetle. However, doing this RBM, we can get rid of it, fortunately.
This is probably the easiest RBM to actually perform.
The interesting part about this one is that the flag that we're trying to set on our file is set during every single frame of the cutscene we're going to enter. And this is actually the one RBM in the game that requires you have the tunic. So Jasnix is going to enter the behind the temple area here with file 3, which is the file that has the tunic, because we're on the part of the game where like the Goron shows you bird statues and how they work. Well, there we go. See, if you start your file during this cutscene, it will set the flag that corresponds to the rock being blown up every single frame. And so it's like really hard to fail this.
Shoutouts to Link just like standing there, by the way, doing that cutscene.
Yeah.
It was because
So
Jasnix went like behind the trigger.
Important thing
and
you'll notice,
file
well, for
3.
one, you'll see the explosion there in the background that confirms that it worked. And for 2, he had to blow up a pile of rocks. That's because whenever you use back in time to set a value for a scene flag, as they're called, they're basically flags that are specific to the area that you're saved in. You have to perform some other action in the world to actually save to the game that this happened. and that's what's called a commit. So by blowing up the rock, he committed that flag into memory so that it's still there by the time that he saves and reloads or whatever.
Firework finishing up Scaldera. I was a little bit worried about that. It looked like it might have gone invincible, just because of like the way he did the one spin attack and then delayed, but it was fine. That was sadly a 4 cycle, but still very fast. What we'll see Jasnix doing now is another RBM, which this one is to make the minecart that you're trying to get to the end actually like be turned on or whatever.
Yeah, so there is a ooh, it looks like he didn't quite dive far enough. It's okay, you can just retry. So basically, there's a value in memory that corresponds to having started the escort mission with the minecart. Because, well, for one, so it's not active before you get there. And also because if you try to exit the minecart escort, or you die, it has to unset the flag so that the escort gets reset. But anyway, this RBM here is going to set that flag so that we can. We're going to set this flag so that we can actually skip the escort successfully. There's going to be another instance of out of bounds shenanigans to help that happen.
But yeah, after this RBM, Jasnix will do a bit warp, and then we'll see the out of bounds movement in Linear Gorge.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Firework didn't damage down in the Scaldera fight.
Yeah, that might have been for safety. Alright, so for this back in time, we're going to enter Farron on the the correct state that's supposed to be like at when you enter for the first time. And part of that is this little interaction where there's these Bokoblins terrorizing Machi, the Kikwi.
Don't terrorize Machi. What'd Machi do?
Yeah, no, they're being quite mean, so we're going to dispose of them.
Oh, that's cool how Jasnix is using like the copy screen to actually
So
see what he's
basically,
doing.
this text box here of Machi has the same temporary flag value as the minecart escort being started. So by starting our file and then talking to Machi, now it's on our real file.
You'll
Now
see Jasnix roll into this again to commit the temporary flag.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of just random hidden rupees throughout this game that are useful for committing these RBMs.
And then Jasnix will save, do back in time, and he will do his bit warp at the Upper Academy.
Yeah, so if you're ever tasked to do a bit warp in this game, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be using the Upper Academy statue because it's easy and its coordinates are for some reason pretty useful on a lot of maps.
It's just convenient at like how just the placement of it. It works for most instances.
Yep. Yeah, so the coordinates of this statue are going to be applied to the his saved file in Linear Gorge.
So once
And we're
again,
gonna end up out of bounds.
instead of spawning in at the statue, he will spawn in at some place out of bounds.
Yep. So we have to go over in this direction because our ultimate goal is to void out near the end of this escort area, and the game will place both us and the minecart right there at the end, and so we can just finish it out, and then we finish the minecart escort. Yeah, it's somewhat unfortunate that you have to actually do this escort for real to save the Thunder Dragon. Like, it changes the state of this map.
What Jasnix just
that
did was
Thunder
the
Dragon.
setup for this precise out of bounds jump he's about to do.
Yeah,
By
for
running
some
up
reason,
the wall, holding left while sidestepping, and then pressing plus, and then missing it.
yeah, this jump is sometimes a little bit stupid. Hence why it's called stupid jump. There we go. It's required to get over this hill.
And then you
But
can
anyway, as I was
get over
saying,
the
it's
hill.
unfortunate that we have to actually do this escort because it like sets the correct layer for the Thunder Dragon to be revived. Because if we didn't, all we'd have to do is set the flag for the minecart being stuck in the center, and then heal the Thunder Dragon, and then we'd be done. And this game would probably be close to sub 1 hour if that were the case, but alas. So Jasnix is going to go over here in the quicksand, void out, and because of the Machi RBM, the minecart is here. So now,
Then you'll notice
because of the rock RBM, the rock is gone. Thank you for that demonstration, Jasnix. And now we're just going to have to wait.
Oh, Jasnix, don't do that.
Yeah, Jasnix is flexing here with crazy jumps.
Why? Why is he doing that? I think he's stopping now. I think he's getting nervous, voiding out or something.
Jesus. Okay. So, at this point, you have a lot of free time. And there's actually a silly little strategy you can do here. So, for the final, like, non-back-in-time related trick of this run, you have to take damage. So he's going to heal 1 heart and then lose a half a heart so that he has the ability to survive 2 hearts of damage. Now we just wait for the minecart to click into place.
Oh wait, I did not.
There we go.
Why do you take half a heart of damage?
So that after you perform this RBM, you don't have to go sit down on the stool, like on the clock. Like when you do it early, you can just you just heal up for free because you have to wait anyway.
Wait, does
we think it's faster?
In theory, you can have 2.5 hearts for G3 escape.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do that.
If all goes well, we'll be completing the game with half a heart, which is a huge flex.
I don't know if I could do that. That's just scary.
But yeah, now that we've like gotten more consistent with Gear Him 3 escape, and if you practice the actual fight, you can get more used to it.
I normally go for
like
I normally try
hearts.
to get in. Yeah, I normally heal 5 hearts, and then I try to keep my 4 hearts throughout the Gear Him fight, but normally I don't, and normally I finish with 2 hearts. I need to learn to do it without healing up to 5 hearts.
So
I just heal to 5 hearts, so that way I have the ability to take 4 hearts of fall damage in the escape if I actually need to.
Yeah, so Firework has now entered Gorge, and will be doing much the same sequence that we saw earlier. And Jasnix is performing the last instance of Back in Time. So basically, we've already set the minecart into place. However, the Thunder Dragon is sick, or I guess in this case, non-existent on this layer. And normally you'd have to like go get the life tree fruit and then go into the past from the Gate of Time that is apparently a thing, but we're not even close to being able to do that, so we have to heal the Thunder Dragon somehow else. And this RBM essentially sets the scene flag that corresponds to the Thunder Dragon being healed.
Is this the longest RBM or like the second longest? I don't know which one's the longest.
I think it's actually slightly shorter than Skyview RBW, just because you have
as RBMs, I guess technically.
But yeah, we're gonna see something very similar to the Sky VRBW here, except for the fact that we have the ability to have that long down, which I think is just a useful Earth Temple flag. Which lets us get to Farron Woods, or to Deep Woods, a lot faster. Essentially, if you remember from the Sky VRBW, there were actually like sort of two cutscenes. There was one where the crystal was being hit, and then one where the doors were opening up. And just before the doors are being opened up, it sets a value in memory, and that's the value that we're trying to RBM. So Jasnix is going to select file 1.
How precise is this?
I mean, just about as precise as any other RBM. You just start your file as Link leaves the camera there, and then you'll notice the doors being opened.
I normally
and
do it a little bit earlier than that, just because
there's
it's...
Phi.
Yep.
So
Hello, Phi.
the good part about this RBM is that you get instant confirmation on whether or not it works, because that Phi text lets you know that it works, and it also commits it for you. So yeah, here's the Thunder Dragon. And we're going to get to a part that's pretty much my pride and joy. It's like my one achievement contribution to this community. Well, being in the boss rush is we get to fight whatever boss we want because we're on hero mode. And one of those is Girahim 3. So essentially, Girahim 3 takes place in Hylia's realm, which is like the past version of Sealed Grounds. It's at the end of the game. And there is a bird statue in this arena that you're normally not ever able to access because you're like blocked over by walls or a void plane. However, there's a trick that you can do here in the first phase. You'll notice Jasnix is hanging onto the platform. When you hang onto the platform, Girahim's platform will not move, and if you wait for him to get up himself, you can knock him off the platform before the platform starts rising up to what its intended height is. So you'll notice the platform right now is a little bit lower than normal. Yeah, so if we just keep doing that 3 times, we can get low enough that the void plane sinks down to below the ground, and so we can land on the ground and reach the statue. And you'll see what happens when we reach the statue.
Well, right now the statue isn't loaded in because he's not close enough to it.
Well, it's not visually loaded in, but...
Well, I guess it's always loaded
there.
in, but not visually.
Yeah.
Because that's how Skyward Sword works.
I actually found this out on accident, and it's really thanks to the Dolphin Memory Engine, because I was able to see that my Y-coordinate was going down when I tried this. And that looks good. So Jasnix just... Ooh, okay. Barely cleared the fence there.
That backflip is scary. Like, I know it's fast and
but it's
good.
Consistent. Yeah, so now we save and quit. And because we save and quit, we're no longer in the minigame. We are in, like, the actual real deal Girahim 3, second to last boss of the game. However, we are still at the statue, and we kind of have to get out and finish this fight to reach Demise. So we're going to have to do some silly things to get out. So first, we're going to...
Why is he doing it to the right like that?
So if you go into first person there, you can slide out if you move backwards. This trick here was the original thing that we called Girahim 3 Escape, and it was actually known for like a solid year before I found the other part that lets you get here. It's really cool. However, there's like an invisible wall blocking the statue, so we couldn't really do anything with it for a while. But it's cool that it exists because otherwise we couldn't really do this. Or at least we couldn't do this on HD, and we'd have to do some weird things to have it work on Wii. Anyway, by doing that trick, we can hop through the fence, and now we're in the spiral. And eventually, so Girahim is way up on his platform, up in the sky, and there's a void plane, and it's right there. So when you get high enough, eventually you'll hit the void plane, and now Girahim is down here with you, because reasons.
But now Girahim is out of bounds with you,
Ooh,
and
looks
you
like he
need to
didn't
get
quite dodge,
oof.
but it's all right. He got to the statue
Yeah.
and saved, so we'll just
All
respawn there.
he just has to do the
Yeah.
all he has to do now is the butt slide and the hop, then walk back up
So
there.
what he's trying to do is not gear him over the fence to get him onto the sky.
Ooh, clean butt slide.
Yeah, that was a good slide. So we're gonna have to do some silly things to get him to get like back into the fight correctly, because if you knock him onto the ground and you try to fatal blow, the game will crash. Probably because it's trying to spawn a platform where it can't really because it's on the ground. But yeah, that's not ideal. So what we have to do instead is knock him off the fence into the air, where he'll spawn on one of his own platforms, like the orange ones, and then we can perform an extending blow. Well, not extending blow, but we can perform the fatal blow and land onto the platform and continue the fight as normal.
Yeah,
So we'll hopefully see that this time.
that's my favorite part of the run is that fatal blow.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's very cool and satisfying to do.
Yeah, so now
Calibration
he's on
is
his own
destroying
platform.
Jasnix.
Jasnix is going to run up a little bit so he can get some height. Jumps right over the fence and lands onto the platform. And now we just complete the fight like normal.
Also, if you get a good angle or whatever, whenever you do the fatal blow, you can actually hit Girahim with the fatal blow, so that way you only have to knock him down 2 more times.
Yeah,
Well,
Jasnix was able to get that there, which is good. There is, if you're not careful with your positioning, you can like get caught on the fence and you'll void out, and you have to like wait for the platform to rise back up.
What was that weird ledge grab thing that Jasnix just did, where he clipped
So
back?
basically, if you grab onto the ledge after fatal blowing him, as soon as the platform expands again, Link will like fall to the ground and Girahim will get up instantly. And because the platform is so far out, it'll actually start sliding, which means Girahim will just move closer towards the edge. And
Oh, that was clean.
Yeah, so one thing you'll notice is we have the Goddess Sword, and you're supposed to have the True Master Sword. So you have to do a lot of damage to get this phase over with. But there's a strategy you'll see him do there, where you do a Skyward Stab, which stuns him, and very nice. If you do it in just 2 cycles, you're over with.
He got the 2 cycle. That is very difficult.
That is really good, especially without a pause buffer.
Yeah, doing that without pause buffering is just wow.
So now we have to do this part, although again we have the Goddess Sword, which is only 1/4 the strength of the True Master Sword, so we have to stab him 8 times. That was 3, that's 4. I think they were on 4.
Yeah, I think my stream's delayed for some reason.
That's 5. 6. You'll notice on some cases he does like 2 slashes instead of a spin attack to manage the stamina. Oh man, speaking of stamina. Fortunately, if you run out, he just kind of waits there, and you can just recharge for a moment.
Monka is that his only Monka stamina of the run?
Probably not. He probably did so into like stamina fruits or loading zones or whatever.
Those don't count.
That's Girahim 3, and now we're in Demise because, like I said, we entered the actual boss fight and not the mini game.
The Demise fight is actually the same as True Master Sword.
Yeah, the only difference is that your sword is slightly shorter, so you kind of have to get a little bit closer.
I actually didn't run into issues with that. I just kind of did the fight the same, and it worked.
But, yeah. Demise, the boss fight is based on how many hits you do, not how much damage you do, so it's the same despite the fact that you have a weaker sword.
Demise is getting beat with a toothpick.
But yeah, very good first phase. We're just going to interrupt this part here. We get some lightning. Spin attack again. And GG's.
GG's.
Jasnix finishing in first place with a... Well, we'll wait for it to show up on the bot.
It's a 118.30, I think.
Yeah, 118.33.
Oh.
On his splits, it's a 116.24 because that's adjusting for the fact that there was a head start. So yeah, congratulations. Because this is round 1, this is only a best of 1 match. So Jasnix moves on to the next round, where he will play the winner of Exto and Zelds. So good luck with that, Zelds.
I'm very scared. My PB is not very good.
So yeah.
We'll probably be joined by Jasnix in a moment.
Yeah, we'll see if... Oh, he's unable to do a voice interview, but yeah. If you could please switch the audio back to Firework now, then... So yeah. Seems like Jasnix's run was, I mean, besides dying to Girahim and soft locking on Scaldera, pretty solid. Which is always good to
Yeah.
see.
I mean, just like he soft locked to Scaldera and died to G3, and he still got an insane time. Like, I
Yeah, we're gonna
couldn't
see
imagine getting a time like
some
that if
very...
I died to Scaldera, or even at all.
Yeah, so we're gonna see it again once Firework gets there. There's a trick where you can manipulate the platforms in the Girahim 3 fight to reach a bird statue in that arena. And if you reach that and you save and quit, you'll enter the actual boss fight and you'll be outside the minigame. And it's a trick that I found on accident. Because, okay, I was intentionally looking for a way to get there, but it's not the way that I thought that I was going to get there. I was trying to slip past a void plane because I think I noticed that the void plane went down when you knocked him off, when you knocked him off his platform. And I was like, so if I like wait for him to get back up and I jump at like precisely the right time, maybe the void plane will just like jump right past me and I'll hit the floor. But in the process, messing around with the platforms and using Dolphin Memory Engine allowed the figuring out that will perform what we'll hopefully see pretty soon once Firework gets there. So again, Firework is performing a back in time instance to save the the Thunder Dragon.
And if all goes well with G3 and stuff and such, this should be a PB for Firework, if I am correct.
Yeah, he doesn't have his splits up, but
I thought his PB was like a 130 something. So I mean, he could PB if he plays well. This commentary is actually good for me to actually like remember the route because like I actually just remembered everything.
yeah, according to
Whoa. That looked late.
oh, yikes.
Oh no, it didn't work.
Alright, so unfortunately he'll have to retry this.
Yeah, that was like really late. I don't know why he did that. Sadly, Firework will have to redo this long bit sequence. Firework will bit save file 2, go into the sky, go to Farron.
Yeah, it's something we kind of glossed over, but the reason that we're saving file 2 each time is because
I think I mentioned it.
it will load in the flag. It'll load in the fact that file 2 has the ability to call the Loftwing into back in time so we can actually enter the sky.
How many times do you need to flap there? I only flapped 3 times.
I usually do 3 as well.
I started doing 3 because, like, it just felt more consistent, like, with angles and stuff. I don't know. I wonder if you could do it with 2. That would be, like, really, really close.
I wouldn't risk it.
I might try it in practice or something. But yeah, Firework back in sealed grounds. Taking a hit to the Baba.
Oh, is that? Yeah, if that health persists into Fair Woods, that might actually be a. I mean, I'm not sure if it actually saves time because the benefit of taking damage to the Octorok is that you don't take any knockback.
Yeah.
But it's at least not as big of a time loss that it would normally be.
And if this health persists into Farron, then that'll be a fast Octorok death. And it looks like it did. So not really a huge time loss here. Maybe a couple seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, now Firework will
There was
continue to reload.
Early on, after G3 Escape was found, there was a route where. So we hadn't figured out the butt slide yet, so we didn't know how to get back into the regular fight without using back in time. And so one of the ideas we had was to perform Death Trick to, like, enter the fight normally. And we had to, like, die using rocks in behind the temple. It was really silly. But unfortunately, it ended up being slower than, like, the Sealed Grounds bit warp. But
I remember the old way we used to do G3 Escape on HD, where we would use the fairy in the bottle and like have slow death animation where you cause a void out and then you do the same thing.
Really
that was
cool,
slow.
But also really dumb because you had to, like, lure gear him on the other side of the arena to hop through.
I really did not like that. That was what I hated most.
Right, so that timing looked good though. So
yeah, that should have worked. It did indeed work. So now Firework will stab the minecart, heal, and then go into the G3 fight. And hopefully it all goes well.
But yeah, we're gonna unfortunately see one of the biggest spots where it feels bad to play on English. The Thunder Dragon has a lot to say here, and so the English text makes it just that much longer. Sit backward to go forward. Alright, so he's going to look at our past experiences, and despite the fact that we've only fought Girahim 1 and Scaldera, he's going to say we can also do Silent Realms and fight any boss, because this is hero mode. And also, obviously, didn't intend for us to get here so early. So yeah, this glitch is actually hero mode exclusive. Like, it's the reason why HD any percent is like significantly different if you're on hero mode versus normal mode.
Wait, what? Oh yeah.
Like, on normal mode, you can't fight Girahim 3 in the boss rush until you've actually fought it for real.
I wonder if they would add a normal mode thing for the HD boards.
Alright, so we're gonna once again see an attempt at Girahim 3 escape here. So yeah, we can explain a little bit more in detail here. So we're turning around because this is the direction that the statue is in, and we obviously want the platforms to be going that way so we can actually reach there when we jump off.
And then here, you'll see Firework hanging off the edge.
Yeah. So
And whenever
basically,
the platform like starts to expand, he's gonna count to 4, and then he's gonna press A.
you can actually count to 3, but
I
it's
do
better to
4
err
for
on
the
the
first
it's better
one.
to err on the side of too long. But the main point is that if you jump down to the platform after he gets up on his own, for whatever reason, the platform will only be moving horizontally, not vertically, which means you can knock him off before it starts rising again. And the net result is that the platform gets lower. And if you perform this repeatedly, it'll get very low. And fortunately, there's like a void plane. Underneath the platforms that obviously prevents you from
What
hitting
is
the
that
ground or
camera
whatever.
angle?
However, the void plane is like relative to the position of the bottom platform. So by pushing it downwards, we're ensuring that the void plane also goes downward and we can actually reach the ground. Alright, so very good. And now the platform is low enough that we can just jump right on over to the statue. That almost looked like it was going to be behind the invisible wall, but
That was
thankfully,
close, but that was very clean from Firework.
yeah, that was good.
And then now
And
Firework will reload the file to remove the minigame flags.
yeah, and this trick is like, it looks deceptively simple, but I can think of a few reasons why it took so long to be found. For one, there was no reason to look for it until we knew about the fence clip that was found like a year ago.
Yeah.
And for two, it only works if you intentionally wait for him to get up. Like, if you go down normally, the platform will just start rising immediately. So, like, a lot of people, I remember, like, when, like, Jim posted a video about this glitch, so many people were like, I can't believe reverse bit magic was found before this. It's like...
But yeah, props to you for finding this with the platform.
And no, the real thanks goes to Dolphin Memory Engine. Like, between reverse bit magic and this glitch, Dolphin Memory Engine has saved this game like what, 3 hours, if not more. But like, because of the
Dolphin Memory
I was
Engine
able to see that the Y
saved
value.
Oh, nice butt slide.
Like, I probably would not have been observant enough to notice that the platform was going lower, without like doing it multiple times, if I didn't notice on Dolphin Memory Engine that the Y value was going lower.
Nice.
Like, I believe the intended Y value of the platform is like 3,580 or something.
Don't tell me numbers. I'm bad with numbers and coordinates.
I mean, to be fair, it's completely arbitrary. Like, the devs just decided it's that many units above 0, which I think is the ground.
Yeah, probably.
Here's the... Okay, well, I call this a victory lap on HD. It's not necessarily a victory lap on Wii because this fight is a lot more difficult.
Yeah, this is just another part of the run.
We're gonna run up here, void out, and now Girahim is here.
In no-bit, this is the victory lap, so it's not exclusive to HD.
If you're in no-bit, restricted bit, any category that has true Master Sword, really.
Oh, that was
It's like a cakewalk by here. Yeah.
But yeah, with Goddess Sword, this fight is difficult. And also nice.
Okay. Didn't quite make it, but the important part is we're on the platform. So...
Firework can still get the stab on Girahim.
So yeah, you'll notice Girahim is like sliding backwards. That's because the platform you're moving on is moving very quickly towards the center. Because it's like so far out, and the game's like, whoa, what are you doing over here? You get back to the center. We don't want you like jumping over to the sides.
Wait,
and so it's moving. And so if you perform the technique where you grab onto the edge, Girahim will get up and slide relative to the platform because the platform is moving underneath his feet. Yeah, the game is like... I really love to like decompile the code for this platform there. Because it's super interesting, one, that the fact that the trick even works, and like that the speed at which it moves seems to be relative to how far out it is.
It looks like Firework is not going for the...
Yeah. Firework is just going to go for a disarm and then 3 stabs, which Doing some back of the napkin math is, I believe he has to do this 10 times. Because you have to hit him 28 times. Yeah, again, normally this would be 7, but we only have a toothpick, so... Yeah. Ooh, nice. He got the, So this is like the strat that we used to do.
I still do
where
it.
we like parry his attack with the Skyward Stab. But it's significantly easier, and you also get one more attack if you do like the disarm into a Skyward Stab. There we go.
That's phase 2, and
Wretched
then
Rat.
I always call it phase 1. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah, it's like really confusing to refer to the phases of this, because
Ooh.
there's like the part where you escape the first time, and then
This is like... I hate when that happens. When Gearhim decides to, like, attack.
this is why I do Skyward Strikes to...
Is it faster, or...
I'm not actually sure which is faster.
It's faster to do it, in theory, because it prevents him from doing the stupid second attack.
Yeah. You might want to back up. Oh.
Nice backflip.
Yeah. The file, like, this file 1, has basically nothing except for the Goddess Sword and the Lemme Repiller. And I guess the Fair Sword as well.
Yeah. Like, file 1, it doesn't have Elden, I don't think. Like, what you did in Earth Temple just doesn't exist.
File 3 did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and then just file 1
just gets, like, the ticket to the end of the game.
Yeah, file 1 is the winner.
Yeah.
File 3 is the worker.
And as Alkaline Ace mentioned, backflips, like, you're like invincible during a backflip, so a lot of things that look like they should hit you end up just completely whiffing.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure any other Zelda game, if you backflipped like that, you would just die.
So yeah. Fortunately, after the somewhat difficult part with Girahim, the demise fight is like basically scripted. There's no RNG involved.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Alright, so here's phase 2. Just gonna bait out a dash attack here, then interrupt this attack. Grab the lightning. And GG's.
GG's to Firework.
And according to him, that is a PB, so congratulations there. But fortunately, this tournament is double elimination, so Fireworks will move on to
Hello.
GG's Firework.
GG's.
GG's. That was definitely a lot better than I thought I was gonna do.
Yeah, that was like pretty good. Aside from like the death during Elden Out of Bounds and
And
the,
then,
I was so
and
mad
the
about that.
and the failed 2x20 RBM. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 2x20 RBM, I kind of got distracted with Jasnix finishing, and I'm just like, oh wait,
Right.
I'm supposed to press this.
Yeah.
I was hoping I was like a frame early, but oh well. Alas,
Yeah.
that was not the case.
Okay, so
Was this a PB for
interestingly,
you?
how this bracket works out. Not only is Jasnix playing the winner of Exto and Zelds, Firework is playing the loser of Jasnix and Zelds, or not Exto
Extra.
and Zelds. So yeah, uh, this is double elimination, and all rounds after round one, including losers bracket, are best of 3 at least, and the grand finals is best of 5. So fortunately,
Yeah, I
from now
don't
on,
have my splits on me, but I think that was a PB by like 9 minutes.
oh nice.
So
GG.
that was definitely better than I've ever done. Also, I was a little sad to miss cutscene skip at the very beginning.
Ah yeah.
My
Yeah.
hands were so cold and I couldn't mash.
Mm.
For me, it helps when my hands are cold because like my hands are shaking, and it helps me get better CPS or
My hands are
whatever.
like frozen, so like I can't move it. Did Jasnix get cutscene skip? I'm assuming he did.
Yeah, he
Yes.
did.
In fact, he was
Yeah.
Jasnix died to
practicing it before
Scaldy.
the race started.
He
What was that?
he also didn't safety save for Scaldy, so he had to go through the entire like Earth Temple.
Yeah, he got
Oh,
the
did he
soft
die
lock.
in
He got the
Scalding?
soft lock where Scaldera like jumps into the lava.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
He tried to
That
back it up, like he tried to Skyward Strike or something.
All right.
Is it
must have been
possible?
interesting for everybody to watch. That's something you don't see every day on ZSR.
Yeah, because he couldn't take damage to Scaldy, so he went for the damageless strat to knock Scaldy down, but Scaldy went for a swim.
Yep. All right. So, do you have any other comments or just?
This is the first race I've actually finished since seeding. I am definitely very proud of the performance since I came into the seeding with a 159.
Yeah, that's really good that you're getting the nerves out now.
Yeah,
So hope to
so
Nerves
definitely
see.
kill
still
me
have
in
room for
races.
improvement. But this is my first PB that I can actually say I've been proud of. So
Yeah.
That's always a good feeling.
Nerves, it doesn't matter what race it is. Nerves just destroy me.
Yeah. All right.
Well, in TP, I blame it on input delay because, yeah. But GG's, Firework and Jasnix. Uh, Firework will be moving down to losers bracket. Round 1. He will
Yeah,
be
and then
playing loser of Exto and I, and then
yeah, and
Jasnix
then
will be
Jasnick's
playing
playing the
winner of
winner.
Exto and I.
Coming up, I don't think it's getting a restream, but there is a match between Mario Runner and Darmabi tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time, and then a match between Exto and Zelds is scheduled for Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, that's about it. I think we're ready for.
Awesome. I will take it from here. I need to start wrapping things up because we have the MMR Mystery Tournament Grand Finals starting in about 15 minutes.
ooh,
Yes, should be very exciting. Don't know why I just did the tracker command. Okay. Thank
what's
you so
habit?
much to our runners today, Jasnix and Firework. GG's to both of you, and congrats on the PB, Firework. And
Thank you.
thank you to our commentators today, Zelds and Your Average Link. And yeah, so the next WingClash match that's going to be on Restream looks like it's going to be on Tuesday. Pippi in a top hat versus A&D.
Oh,
That will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see if we can get a few more on Restream, but that's what we have scheduled for now. Yeah. So in the meantime, we're gonna raid over to the person I was just talking about, Pippi in a top hat. She is doing some practice runs for the tournament, so we're gonna
nice.
go over there and watch her. And if you're interested in the MMR Grand Finals, you can come on back, but I am going to send you over there first. Pippi in a top hat. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.